Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Super Mario Bros. 3 100% Tournament Semifinals match between the 1 seed Zikubi and the 5 seed TEEX88. Quite a match. I'm Pro007, and joining me on the mic today is Scotch and Tie Guy. Welcome.
Hey, Pro, good to be here. Yeah, big old matchup here between these two heavy hitters, semifinals. So this is the big time here, one and done matchup. So either of these guys could take it. Teek's very well known for, he's commentates on here as well. And
yeah,
he's very, very technical. And Zikubi, just very well known as well.
Yeah.
For just being very good and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. The good news is that even whoever win or lose, they get another shot at this because there will be a bronze medal match. The winner will face off against either Mitch Flower Power and the Hacksaw on the other side of the bracket, and the loser will take the other player for the bronze medals. So and all those are best of threes. So they at the very least get two more bites at the apple after today.
Yeah, and this tournament so far has just been really exciting to watch. The first Super Mario Bros. 3 tournament for GSA as a whole.
Yeah.
Been really good, though. So it looks like we've got a countdown here. Looks like we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. Coming into this, Zikubi has a PB of 1 hour, 10 minutes, 46 seconds, and TEEX88 is 1:22:20. So both players are very accomplished at this, and in terms of strategy, it's probably the onus is probably going to be more on Teeks. He's really going to have to go for some stuff that he might not otherwise. Zikubi might just have to play his normal game and hope that is enough, but it's not something you take for granted. Certainly, we had a clean 1-1 to start off.
Well, and we all right off the bat see the strategy differences between the two. Teeks deciding to pick up that mushroom to get Big Mario, whereas Zikubi's deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna throttle it and hit the gas pedal and just go.
Well, with 100%, that's not such a big deal because you basically get a free mushroom and a free raccoon tail in 1/4. So you're not quite under the gun as much as you would be in, say, Warpless, where you have to be a little more strategic, I think, with your power up at acquisitions. So,
well, and speaking of power ups, it's this game is all about holding on to those power ups and just maintaining it throughout the entire run. Losing a power up can be so critical and lose you so much time. We've seen it throughout this entire tournament. And we've got our first auto scroller here. All it is just maintaining your position, being patient, make sure you're not getting ahead of yourself. You can mess around a little bit here and there. Maybe these guys picking up that leaf there as we see.
The other thing they might do is just kind of keep an eye on their coin count, because if their coin count is a multiple of 11, say 22, and their tens digit is a 2, Hammer Bros turn into coin ships, and that is something you definitely do not want to see. So our runners will be kind of keeping an eye on that, just to make absolutely certain that there are no accidental coin ships, and usually that doesn't become a factor until Worlds 5 and 6, because it's only going to happen in, I think, Worlds 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I believe. Something I can't remember.
Well, here we go with the first fortress. Not going to be taking on any bosses or boom booms here. You're just going to go ahead and grab this warp whistle. We won't use it because this is 100%, so we got to complete everything.
Right.
But it gets through that fortress much more quickly.
Fortunately, Teeks did not get a shot at an early Hammer Bro, which would have saved him a couple of seconds of Hammer Bro movement. Hammer Bro moved back between 1, 5, and 6. Kubi taking a couple of hits there. not sure those were really intentional, because you want to have Fire Mario for sure for the Koopa kids, because that's taking them down with 10 fireballs is faster than that. So he might have to take a pit. He's gonna have to take a pit stop here in 1-6 to get a mushroom, because Hammer Bro wasn't giving out an item.
Well, and like we were saying earlier, the power-ups are so important. That first hit that both those guys took was intentional, because there are parts in this run where you will intentionally take damage to keep that P speed, because this whole game is all about P speed. How fast can you move from left to right? And if you can maintain that P speed in certain areas, it's critical to the run. So taking some damage and holding onto that P speed is important. But that second damage that Zikubi took, you're right, he didn't want to take that, so he had to back it up and grab a mushroom here in this past world. But we see Zikubi with the slight lead over TEEX.
TEEX had a really rough time with the Superman clip in jump in 1-6. Took him 3 tries, and every time you don't get it, that's an extra 3 seconds. Zikubi, I believe, was first try, so that allowed him to close the gap a bit, and is giving him about a 5 or 6 second lead right now. As we go into the World 1 airship, more auto scroll fun. This is a pretty easy and pretty short airship, though.
Yeah, these airships will get much more difficult, much longer as we get through the game. But again, it's just about maintaining position, watching out for these cannonballs, watching out for these bullet bills, a couple of small, ratchet or what are they called? Now I'm forgetting things too.
A good fire kill by Zikubi, gets the wand at 512. TEEX having a little trouble, but puts him down and is about 10 seconds behind with a 522 wand grab. So, and chat was asking, yes, the other semifinal is Mitch and Haxor. I'm not sure when that match is. I want to say Friday, but I might be wrong.
Well, if you want to check out everything that GSA has going on, we've got the Super Mario Odyssey Dark Side tournament going on. We've still got Super Mario Sunshine to finish up as well. We got that going on tonight. But if you check out ! Schedule on in the chat, you'll see everything that GSA has going on. Currently, we do not have the semifinal between Haxor and Mitch on the schedule. But I'm sure if you stay up to date with that and you just watch and monitor the calendar, it'll pop up there.
So good 2-1 by both players. A really nice clinic of P-speed strats there. If you get P-speed right before you hit that block, you can fly through this stage, but it is a bit of precise platforming that you have to execute, but no problem for either player. And 2-2, very much the same thing. Kind of a mix of, more of a mix of good platforming than P-speed, but very nicely done by both players, as TEEX maintains about a third of a stage lead over TEEX right now. So,
yeah, the big thing so far is Zikubi, taking that early lead by not grabbing that early mushroom in 1-1. Part of the reason why he's been able to maintain it, but TEEX just a couple of minor mistakes. Well, not really mistakes, just a couple things that Zikubi was able to do more effectively.
Right, 1-6 is really the dividing point at this stage, but lots of game left to be played, and some fairly technical stages, and some bits of randomness are going to pop up, mostly in here in Worlds 2 and 3 with the Hammer Bros. Zikubi actually got an early Hammer Bro, and so is TEEX getting rid of the Music Box Bro, and this is something you'd rather see in Warpless. Getting an early Hammer Bro makes it a lot easier to navigate, but here you got to take out everything, and that includes the Hammer Bro behind the boulder. Nice 2-3 from Zikubi. TEEX finishing up as well.
All we're gonna take on this angry sun. You know, pretty simple movement as long as you maintain your position and know where the sun's at. It's pretty easy. That sun stays in the same exact position on the screen, so
right. The only thing you got to worry about a little bit is sometimes he does a dive bomb sooner than you would like, and that can throw off your movement. But pretty basic for both runners. And so Zikubi is going to go down to 2.5 first, make a swing around, and probably do 2.4 last after he does the pyramid. TEEX will follow suit. The Hammer Bro is pretty close to the pyramid. So that's pretty common, though, as far as routing is concerned. Okay, Zikubi, because the Hammer Bro went back up towards the corner, is going to do 2.4 now, which is a pretty tricky stage as far as platforming and P-speed movements. It's really cool to see, but it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially if you're trying to maintain your Fire Flower. Really kind of want that as little disruption as possible. So runners have kind of diverged a bit. TEEX is in the pyramid. Zikubi just finished off the second Hammer Bro. He's going to take on the Fire Bros behind the boulder. Down in the bottom corner there. Yuck.
Yeah, not a great position, but fortunately Zikubi has a slight lead, so he's pretty comfortable right now. But he'll have to run on back.
Yeah, so that's done. So Zikubi has to do pyramid. TEEX has to do the Fire Bros and 2.4. Nice jump and fire kill by TEEX. Little bit of a stagger there at the end for Zikubi. Takes, I think that was an intentional damage boost because we'll get a Fire Flower back in the airship anyways, so.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, and that's one of the big reasons why I was excited about commentating this is, you know, how interesting it is. This is one of the few games where you intentionally take damage to keep your speed. Like, there's not too many other games where that happens. I mean, especially here on Speedrun. So SM64, you're never going to want to take damage, ever. Super Mario Brothers, the original, the first game, like, you stay Small Mario the entire time taking a death. Getting hit once is taking a death.
Right.
Here you can take several hits to maintain that speed.
Yeah, there are certain circumstances where it's not a big deal, and again, it's less than ideal, especially if you're a top level runner. You basically got, you know, those assigned spots, but even then, if you can avoid it, you can. But there are places where it can be beneficial.
We see Zikubi pick up that Fire Flower like he talked about there, so not too much of a problem for this Koopa kill. As long as he's able to maintain it.
Yeah, fire kills on Morton is probably the toughest because he starts at a much higher position than Mario does, which can make timing very difficult. See how Zikubi does very nicely done. Got a good pattern from Morton. Was able to spam it and gets a 12-minute wand grab. Yeah, there we go. TEEX is not going to go for it. He did not get quite as good a pattern, so it's going to cost him a few extra seconds. But he only is about 14 seconds behind, so he didn't lose very much in World 2. He's holding pace.
Well, and that's the big thing here. You know, TEEX has been able to, you know, maintain his position. He's not giving up a whole lot of time. He hasn't been more than 30 seconds behind at any point in time so far, which is big deal walking into World 3.
Right, and this is a world where you really want to get the Hammer Brothers out of the way as quickly as you can, because if you get a runner into the other side of the map, that's going to waste time because that Hammer Bro is going to keep moving, and that's about a second or so, second and a half every time the Hammer Bro moves. So you just want to get rid of both of them as quickly as possible. But you know, there is a bit of RNG to that, so it is going to be, there's a little bit of luck involved, and Zikubi already not in great shape as far as that goes. Hammer Bro moving up into the top right corner as he begins 3-2 and gets his P-speed going, and yep. Little bit of Busby Berkeley there as he flies through the water show and takes care of 3-2. TEEX not going for P-speed strats here, but still an effective bit of platforming. Okay. 3-3, the debut of Boss Bath.
Nice P-speed here from Zikubi.
He's outrunning Boss Bass, and we got a runner on TEEX's screen. Hammer Bro has moved to the other side of the map. He could come back, but that's not great. That's gonna cost him a little bit of time there. He barrels through 3-3 with almost identical P-speed strats.
Yeah, TEEX following up, doing a really nice job. Again, not giving Zikubi too much room.
Right.
And that's a big deal here, especially as we move on, because these worlds, I mean, it's going to get tougher and tougher, and TEEX is going to have opportunities to make up that time as long as he's able to, you know, keep up this consistency.
Yeah. So, no door 3 clip from either player. That's a one frame window where you can try and skip through the third door and get door 6 a few seconds early, but it's a very tight bit of movement and not worth it in a race. Good Hammer Bro kill by TEEX, gets his hammer. Kubi's got his Hammer Bros pretty nicely positioned. He's got one kind of sitting on the side there. You got to be a little careful. Got to hope that he doesn't make a run for it. And he does. He is off in that. Kubi's probably not too happy to see that. He goes into 3-4, finishing 3-5, so about a one-stage gap between the runners now.
Yeah, both these guys playing very consistently right now. This is showing off exactly why they deserve to be in the semifinals. Zikubi working on this auto-scroller, picking up that fire flower.
Yeah.
Intentionally taking damage in the previous level.
Yeah, both of them taking advantage. So it's about a half a stage right now. If you go off 6 situation. 3-6 is another pretty straightforward auto-scroller. The only tricky bit is towards the end. You got to be a little careful with your jump, but otherwise, it's pretty easy. Based on the where the Hammer Bro ends up, they might do 3-8 instead of 3-7 first, just to get rid of the Hammer Bro altogether. No, Zikubi is going to just play 3-7 as normal. TEEX also opting to just play 3-7 as Zikubi does a nice little jump there in the water, speed his way into the pipe, but it's a nice little bit of movement, saves a couple of frames. But 3F2 is probably one of the easier forts. It's just a lot of swimming and avoiding booze. That's all there is to it. TEEX getting his little water skip. Yes, fluffy auto-scrollers are the worst, and 100% you get to play them all and enjoy them all. 3-8, our second stage with Boss Bass. It's gotta be a little careful with him. Don't want to get gulped because that would be pretty awful. But Zikubi makes it work. TEEX pushing off Boom Boom in 3F2. Okay, TEEX is going to use his cloud and get rid of the hammer, bro. Good idea. It's gonna save a small amount of time. It's largely inconsequential, but every little bit helps, and he's gonna need it. Okay. TEEX, no problem there. Never in any real danger of getting gulped. Zikubi in 3-9. Does the H jump. Get out your H's in chat, folks.
Very nice movement there from Zikubi. Just very optimal.
And that saves about 4 or 5 seconds doing it correctly. So about a 1-stage gap between the players right now. As we go to Wendy, the World 3 boss. There's an H in chat. Thank you, Cab Audio, for that.
We got 2 H jumps. And this Koopa fight can be kind of tricky if you don't know the strats that these guys use.
Right.
The rings that she shoots off during the fight continue to move in the arena. So if you don't take, if you don't do the quick kill like these guys do, then it can be kind of difficult.
Yeah, the timing does take a little bit of work, but it's not that bad. It's really knowing when to hit her as she gets ready to come out of her jump. But that's a pretty basic matter of timing. But yeah, 10 fireballs is the optimal strat. But Wendy's hitbox can be a little dodgy, so you got to be really quick. So
another quaint auto scroller here on this ship. Again, just dodging cannonballs and dodging bullet bills. A couple of wrenches here and there. Zikubi really nice movement.
2058, a lot of double tap shots on Wendy. Very nicely done. TEEX is going to be, I don't know, 25 seconds, 30 seconds behind, somewhere in there. So he is bleeding a little bit of time, but he's still very much within range. He's Zikubi mistake away from getting right back in this. 21-23, so yeah, 25 seconds. Not the ideal way to play this, hoping for an opponent's mistake, but that might be what TEEX kind of counting on at this point. Waiting for Zikubi to basically kind of bring himself back into towards him rather than the other way around, given their PBs.
Well, the thing is that it wasn't necessarily a mistake that TEEX made. TEEX has been playing pretty well throughout this entire race. It hasn't been that. It's just been the fact that Zikubi has been playing more optimally, and we saw in World War I, Zikubi didn't take that mushroom, so that gave him a pretty good lead to start off with.
Yeah, 1-1, 1-6, kind of, and TEEX had a few other little hiccups, like 1-2 and a few other places. But as you just saw in 4-1, Zikubi had a much faster route through the level, making perfect use of the jumps and the P-speed strats. And he was out of there in about 2 or 3 seconds faster than TEEX. And he gets an early hammer. Oh no, he doesn't. Excuse me. He's in 4-3 right now. I thought he had an early hammer, bro. So 4-3 is one of those stages that's always a joy to watch, done optimally like Zikubi is. Those P-speed strats are it's a lot of precise movement, but when it all comes together, it's really good.
Yeah, this is about the halfway point here of this race.
Thereabouts.
And we see Zikubi using that star to begin with, avoid any damage.
Quick fire kill, and that's it for 4F1. So yeah, that's outstanding platforming by Zikubi, and we'll see how TEEX handles this. I imagine he's going to go for the star as well. So he is.
Well, it's just so important. I mean, you've got all these thwomps going this and that way in the stage, and you want to keep that fire flower so badly.
And very nicely done. Very nice 4F1 by TEEX, keeping it and doing very optimal movement. Zikubi, no problems in 4-4. Got both of the Lakitu jumps. TEEX is setting himself up, gets it. Zikubi is going to just do a bunch of fire kills on the giant bros. TEEX, I don't think, got the pattern he was looking for from the so he's taking the bottom route, trying to avoid getting sniped.
Yeah, so easy to get sniped by that Lactus, and it's all based off of how you're swimming, not based off of RNG.
Yeah, Zikubi getting rid of all three Hammer Bros really quickly before going into 4-6.
Yeah, TEEX will have that same opportunity to take out those bros the same way that Zikubi just did.
It's going to have to hope for a little bit of good movement from the top. Hammer Bro by 4-6 needs to come to him rather than the other way around, and he does. So there's that. So 4-5 underway for Zikubi.
Yeah, Zikubi just on a really clean run right now. Not any mistakes that I can think of.
No, and
major any way, shape, or form. Maybe just slight movement here and there, but other than that, just extremely clean.
Yeah, it's like when we're talking like that, we're talking like he could have done Pyramid in World 2 a little cleaner than that. 4-5 is, you know, maybe not as optimal for P speed, but you know, come on, this is when you're P. It does become fairly minute, little details like that. I mean, he's already on the airship. TEEX has just finally started the 4, so there you go. And so now World 4 airship, of course, is the longest 2 minutes of your life, but skip that for.
Yeah, this ship is just so slow. I mean, whenever I'm commentating, I always say, you know, if you want to, you could probably make a pizza or heat up a toaster strudel faster than you could get through this.
Yeah.
This airship just takes so long. Maybe get some popcorn, pop that or whatever.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the longest stages in the game. I think only World 7 airship is longer. That is over 2 minutes long, but World 7 airship runs at 30 frames a second. This one runs at 15. So yeah, it is a bit of a slog.
It's just monotonous. That's the thing. And you know, I talk about being patient and knowing your position and being aware of where you're at. This is especially where you need to do that because again, it's just so slow and you can kind of get into a monotonous place and kind of doze off, and then you make a mistake.
Right. The only thing that they might be doing, it looks like both of them did, is just kind of get their coin count in a place where they're comfortable, so they don't have to worry about any accidental coin ships in World 5, which definitely can happen, particularly in the sky portion of World 5. It is because of the Lakitu dropping the spinies, you know, that they turn into coins when you hit the card. And if you're not careful, you can accidentally trigger that, and that completely derail a run. I'm speaking from experience. Ooh, Zikubi accidentally taking a hit from Iggy from the other wand, so that's not what he wanted, but
yeah, that'll be a little frustrating on his end.
it's not a huge deal. It's gonna mean he won't get a shot at, I believe, a fire kill on Boom Boom in 5F1, at least not immediately. He could play 5-3 first and then circle back and then do fire kill on Boom Boom, but that's extra time that I'd rather not waste.
Well, and this is where it's all about, picking your fights. That's a lot. You get to decide, okay, what you want to do as far as strategy goes. What's maybe a more difficult strategy here that you might not be as consistent with, but makes up a lot of time, or say, you know what, I'm going to be more consistent. And with this strategy, even though it takes a little bit more time, you don't do that with PB runs, with normal runs that you do, during the day. So these guys, I mean, I don't know how much they practiced for races in particular, but they might not be used to that. And we see Zikubi, he losing that fire flower again. It's so important that you hold on to these power-ups. We've seen that losing power-ups just breaks runs, especially in races, because you just gotta keep going. So
still a one-stage gap as we go into World 5. Zikubi done with 5-2. TEEX done with 5-1. So let's see what Zikubi decides to do here with his play. He is going to go to 5-3. That's what I thought he might do, because we'll get a fire flower here toward the end of the stage.
Well, this is one of those things that I was talking about. He's going to trade off grabbing this fire flower. Like you said, it's going to take a little bit of extra time to go get this thing, but it's going to save him time when he goes over with the Boom Boom fight. So it's a trade off. You lost that fire flower, and you don't want to lose it where he did on that ship, but ultimately you got to make the decision. Okay, do I pick up the fire flower now and just save the time later, or
Fortunately, and there we go. He just lost it. So, and he was having some trouble with his optimized movements 5-3, because a lot of it is dependent on Fire Flower, and he wasn't able to do it.
Well, that'll be a huge time loss for Zikubi. This is exactly, you were talking about it, this is exactly the sort of thing that TEEX needs. He needs for Zikubi to be making these kind of mistakes, because again, the PB difference is close to 2 minutes.
Right.
So Zikubi making these two mistakes here on the airship and then at that fortress, or excuse me, in 5-3, getting the fire flower and then losing it. Not only does he now lose time having gone into 5-3 before the fortress, but now he lost time because it was a waste of time altogether.
Well, it was the correct play, it just didn't work out.
Exactly.
And he has to do slower Hammer Bro fights as well, and TEEX is flying through 5-3, and okay, he takes a hit there, that's not a big deal. Though what happened there kind of cost him a couple of seconds, but at least he maintains. And although Fire Flower really isn't that important for 5-4, 5-5, and 5-6, and you get a Fire Flower back in 5-7, I think from TEEX's point of view, it was all about that second Hammer Bro.
Well, in TEEX, you see there, he was able to take care of those Hammer Bros much more quickly than Zikubi, so he'll save a bit of time there.
He has gained some time back overall, but we'll see. He was 35 seconds behind going into World 5. It was a 28-23 and a 28-54 wand grab. A 28-58 wand grab, excuse me. So that was a nice little bit of time gain for TEEX. Zikubi, no problems in 5-4. Kind of a tricky level with the moving platforms and such, but nicely done.
Well,
so here
you're talking about the time difference. You know, he was 35 seconds behind entering World 5. He's now down to 20 seconds. So he saved 15. He's made up 15 seconds just based off of Zikubi's mistakes.
Right. And, you know, again, getting rid of that hammer bro will be handy. The sooner you can, the better. And looks like TEEX has got a very good, and he is going to use his cloud and get rid of the hammer bro now because he doesn't want that guy running all over the place. So nice use of the item there. Now we'll go back to 5-5. Zikubi in 5-6, and this is another auto-scrolling. This is a tricky bit of platforming because of the flying beetle.
Yeah, you gotta be so careful with how you take these jumps, and he's gonna pick up that raccoon tail there.
You don't see the top-level runners using the tail very often, if at all, but as a safety measure in 5-6, it's a good idea. You can also see it. You also see it in 6-7 and 6F2.
Well, it's negligible in these auto scrollers.
Right.
The reason why these guys don't pick up the raccoon tail typically is because it is slower. It's just slightly slower than Big Mario or Fire Mario. But in these auto scrollers, it doesn't matter because the stage is going to move at the same pace no matter what. So you know, it's negligible.
Yeah. So 5-6 done for Zikubi. I forgot his Fire Flower. That was the whole point of taking the damage boost. Okay, so TEEX is just about done with 5-6.
Now we're getting close to some RNG, particularly with 7-1. But it is to note that RNG isn't a huge factor here in 100%. For instance, I saw a comment about no hands. It doesn't matter if a person gets no hands in a race due to the fact that they're going to have to complete those levels no matter what.
Right.
No hands in 100% saves you 1.5 seconds per hand.
Right.
Just because you get to go automatically into the level versus seeing the animation of the hand pulling you down.
Right.
So overall, you could save 4.5 seconds, but again, it's 4.5 seconds over a run that's an hour and 10 to hour and 15 minutes long.
Right. Those little things will add up, and you know, getting rid of hammer bros early rather than later is, again, in the grand scheme, you wouldn't think it would make that much difference, but when you're at their level, it actually does.
Yeah. Well, hammer bros in particular, just based off of their position, that's a big deal, especially because of how many there are. Again, it's 100%. So RNG with hammer bros is way more important than RNG with the hands. Because because again, 100%, you have to complete everything, which includes those bros.
Good 5-8 from TEEX and a good 5-8 from Zikubi earlier. We're in 5-9, one of the more notorious auto-scrollers in the game with its upward and diagonal movement. You only see this level played in 100%. You'll almost never ever see it in Warpless unless somebody made a mistake.
Well, you see those fire chain chops? They can be such a problem. We've seen earlier in the tournament, you know.
Yeah,
players have difficulty with them.
Yeah. Yeah, there are only 2 of them, and the good news is they're consistent when they show up. But if you don't have Fire Mario, it can be a little nerve-wracking, even if you have optimized strats, because you know, one false move and that costs you 45 seconds. So about less than a half a stage difference now, as Zikubi is entering the World 5 airship, and TEEX is right behind him. There's a cutscene behind going into the end of World 5, so he has made up some ground here, about 20 seconds, I'd say. So there is a chance here, and you mentioned the RNG in World 7, and again, there is that, and there will be a little bit of RNG with the last set of hammer bros in World 6. You know, the sooner you get rid of them, the better. Dave Lindo in chat, another tournament competitor, commenting 13 seconds. Thank you.
Yeah, no. Again, just slight mistakes here and there from Zikubi, allowing TEEX to make up that time. Again, Zikubi's big problem from World 3 to World 5 has been maintaining those power-ups, and I will repeat that over and over and over again because it's so crucial to Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, Iggy's dodgy patterns ended up really hurting Zikubi there, but he gets a great pattern from Roy, an easy fire kill, 38-53 for Kubi. And TEEX is not going for the fire kill, so that'll cost him a couple of seconds back, but he's 39.09, so 16 seconds going into World 6. Now we're getting into the gauntlet portion of the run.
Yeah, getting deep into 3 more worlds to go. This is where the run really starts to take its toll on the runners. So it'll be really important to hold on to these power-ups, and like you were saying, when and how they take care of these bros is going to be crucial.
And good 6-1 from Zikubi, a nice bit of platforming. I know less experienced runners like, say, me, will actually use a star at the start of 6-1 just to kind of power through this opening section and kind of clear the decks a little bit, but no problem for either of these players here.
Yeah, and Zikubi back on the auto scroller again.
Yeah.
Really simple, just maintaining position and making sure that you watch that coin count.
And he's got to be a little careful, but he'll probably have that taken care of. TEEX, because of the Hammer Bro position, played 6-3 first. He wants to get rid of that Hammer Bro as quickly as he can. So he moved in that position down to 6-3 and takes care of him. Nicely done. 6-2, just about done for Zikubi. And again, these are levels you do not see in any category other than 100%, because in Warpless you use a hammer to do a sort of back cut and avoid 6-1, 6-2, and 6-3 and go straight to 6F1. So it's kind of neat to see these levels getting their due as Zikubi finishes 6-2. TEEX just underway now.
Zikubi's been flush with those fire kills on all these bros and all these bosses.
Yeah. And chat's asking, is it really that fast to kill the Koopa kids with fire? Yes, generally it is. Certainly Wendy. That's a lot easier. And depending on their patterns and their movements, yes, fire kills. 10 fireballs are much faster than 3 jumps to the Koopa kids. I mean, especially if you got a pattern like Zikubi did with Roy, that was much faster than 3 jumps.
Well, it's especially faster with Boom Boom fights.
I mean, oh yeah, Boom Boom. That's definitely 100%. Always go for the fire kill when you can, or the star kill, as Zikubi's about to do. Fortunately, this is the only fort where you can really do that. Yeah, it's the only fort where you can do that. So, randomizer, you can actually do it in 2 or 3 other forts, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
So
TEEX following up the same, and we saw both these guys take damage there on the spikes to speed it up, obviously.
Right.
Because you got that star there, so it's not too big of a deal.
Yeah, that's just good strategy, more than anything. So, okay, so Zikubi taking on Hammer Bro by 6-6. TEEX not using the P-speed strats like Zikubi did, but clearing through the stage pretty quickly. Now we're in 6-6. which is actually a stage where you want to be small, if you believe it, because it makes movement a little easier.
Well, you're able to avoid things much more easily as small Mario through these water levels, especially with how tight they put these Cheeps together.
You know, see, like, kind of an aside, just based on my expertise, this level in Randomizer is one of the worst stages you can possibly get because all the enemies are randomized, and that means you're in a lot of trouble. And it makes you appreciate, you know, this level isn't so bad in vanilla by comparison, as both players doing a nice job navigating through the water in 6-6.
Oh, and TEEX really unfortunately there, got into the bottom there, slowing him down big time.
Yeah, that wasn't great, but at this point it's just about surviving. You know, you just want to get out of this. And now 6-5 underway for Zikubi after taking out his last Hammer Bro of the game, so no more worries about coin ships for him. Nice despawn, getting rid of the nippers 6-5 and clean exits. You don't have to use the Koopa shell to get rid of them.
Yeah, TEEX only getting one nipper there, but that's not too big of a deal. Easy to take care of him with that raccoon tail. Zikubi moving through this.
Yeah,
through this auto-scroller.
Yeah, 6-7 is a tricky one because of some of its diagonal movement and some of its narrow platforming, particularly toward the end. You got to be a little careful here because one wrong step, and you know that really does kind of throw things awry because you really want to hold on to your raccoon tail for 6F2 for the first half of it, because flying through that stage is a lot faster than going normally.
Well, you see Zikubi, and TEEX will do the same, making sure to maintain his position. These donuts, you know, you don't want to stay on for too long, so just jumping on top of them a little bit here and there to prevent them from falling.
A good 6-7 from Zikubi. TEEX is about 2/3 of the way done. Zikubi has regained some of his time back just by some of his more optimized movements. Places like 6-4, but still anybody's match for sure. Nice P speed, takes a damage boost there to get through the last chunk of 6F2.
Well, that's been the story here so far. You know, Zikubi, he hasn't made any major mistakes yet, other than, like we said, with the power-ups. But Zikubi's movement just has been a lot more optimal than TEEX's, and that's the reason why you're seeing him hold this lead.
And TEEX, unfortunately, did not get the optimized movement there in 6F2, so he had to take a kind of a detour, go a slightly longer way through the stage.
Well,
cost him about 2.5 seconds.
Well, I just talked about that. You know, Zikubi, his movement through that section was so much smoother. You know, he used the iframes to get through that section, and TEEX not able to do that.
Right, and that is a thing that 95% of the time TEEX will get that. It's not especially difficult, but it does require some fairly fluid movement. It was just unfortunate for him that that's the way it turned out. But guns through 6-8, Zikubi finishing off 6-9, going to 6-10 now, getting his Fire Flower back. Trying to keep his P speed up for this stage, which is again not a difficult level, but it can be irritating because of all the action happening around you as you're trying to get to the end. It's easy to get thrown off by something you weren't quite expecting, or you're not quite paying full attention to what's going on around you. So 6F3, aka Carpet Fort, nice bit of P speed there from Zikubi for the opening section. TEEX trying to hold his P speed, was not able to, so he's gonna have to do the rest of 6-10 normally. It's going to take a little safe because, again, keep the fire flowers. You can do a quick fire kill on Boom Boom as Zikubi just did.
Well, here we go, Zikubi. Gonna take on this airship. TEEX will be following up behind with that as well, taking on this fortress.
Yeah, so now we come to our favorite part of any Mario 3 100% or warpless run. There's the 7-1 clip. How many jumps is it going to take our runners to make that clip successfully?
We've actually seen that particular clip like destroy runs in this tournament. You know, I forget who, but someone had the lead and couldn't get the clip for until like 30 or 40 tries, and actually ended up losing that race because of it. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, nice clip there for Zikubi.
Yeah, that's a nice little bit of swag. Doesn't save any time, but it looks pretty cool, and it saves you from having to platform for about 20 seconds. Yeah, that again, it is a fairly luck-based jump, but so long as you execute it, you know, you can make this work. But you know, if it wants you, it'll get you, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. So, chat, get your guesses in. How many jumps is it going to take Zikubi and TEEX to make the 7-1 clip? I'm going to say 6 for Zikubi and 3 for TEEX.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'll say 5 for each.
5 for each.
Yeah.
49.55 for Zikubi. TEEX is going to be about 45 seconds behind, I want to say. Maybe a little less, but I don't think he's going to go for a fire kill here. He is going to go for the fire kill and gets it.
Wow, that was the first fire kill that we've seen from TEEX so far.
Yeah, that saved him a few seconds. He's only 35 seconds behind, and here we go, Zikubi.
Fourth try.
Fourth try for Zikubi.
So that's pretty optimal. I mean, so the big thing about that clip is that versus going through the level completely, it saves a ton of time. So you actually don't lose time from going through the level until you've done it about 25 times.
Something like that, yeah.
And TEEX, his attempts. That'll be 3, 4, and he is struggling. He's going to be losing time here.
Yeah,
Zikubi.
He's having a little. I think he's a little early on his jumps. There it is, 9th try for TEEX. But yeah, those extra tries did cost time. So and Zikubi's just finished 7-2. So he's over a full stage ahead as we now go to the South Central Island here in World 7.
Yeah. And so every single attempt that you make at that 7-1 clip loses you about a second and a half to about 2 seconds. So TEEX lost about 10 seconds there to Zikubi.
Right. So Zikubi barrels through 7-2. Zikubi had no problem in 7-3 and 7-5 now beginning for Zikubi, who's arming himself with a P-Wing for this. And he's going to try to hold on to this raccoon tail at least all the way through to 7F1, because having a raccoon tail will allow him to make quick work of that stage without having to burn another P-Wing. Because he's going to have to use one for 7-6 unless he really wants to try that clip, and it's a little... It's doable, but it is fairly tricky because there's less room for you to maneuver. Again, that's the only kind of that kind of clip is the only thing you'd see in a randomizer. Really, I don't know of really any top level 100% or warpless player would even think of trying the 7-6 clip unless they ran out of P-Wing. And for those of you that care about that kind of thing, Zikubi has passed 1 million points. I don't know, you might not care, but it is notable.
Yeah, that's fair.
So 7-4, another really long and rather kind of unpleasant, actually, auto-scroller with bloopers and Big Berthas and just all sorts electric jellyfish. It's all sorts of ew. It's not what you want to see. Kubi's about halfway done with 7-4. Ooh, he loses his raccoon tail. That's not what he wanted. TEEX is actually going to take a kind of a quasi-safety here, and Fire Mario is going to use his P-Wing in 7-6, I think. Or 7F1. Or, well, actually, no. I take it back. What they might end up doing is they'll cloud over 7F1, use the P-Wing on 7-6, and then circle back and then do 7F1, and not have to worry about the one cycle. That would be my guess. It's a nice little bit of strategery. Saves you from having to do double P-Wings. First, they have to do the first Piranha stage, which will net them another P-Wing.
Yeah, Zikubi picking up that, using that star to begin with. Very optimal. Picks up that P-Wing. Will be a big help later on.
Yep, as expected, Zikubi did indeed use his P-Wing. He's just going to fly over 7-6 and save himself from having to do a really tricky level if you have to do that normally. It's not a lot of fun, and it's very long. 7F1, also known as Fort Knox, if you actually turn on that P-switch, all those blocks coin. Hence the name. TEEX opting not to use his P-Wing, use a star here. Doesn't see the need because he's going to get a P-Wing soon. Use the P-Wing soon anyways, so small but notable shift strategy.
Yeah, interesting move there by TEEX. You know, knocks him all the way down to Small Mario, but like you said, it's negligible because he, you know, uses the P-Wing right there.
Right. This is where we could see a real. Okay, I thought Zikubi might try to go for Hammer. Try to hold Hammer for the last world and a quarter, but he has decided to just go through 7-8 normally.
Yeah, we've only seen that once. I've only seen that once so far. Someone picking up that hammer to carry it through.
Yeah, Mitch does that. I think the Haxor has done it as well. In terms of participants in this tournament, those two I'm pretty sure have done it. Don't think TEEX is going to play 7-7 first. He's not even going to try for the 7-7 clip, which Zikubi decided to take a few cracks at before. Okay, and El Barto helpfully pointing out in chat that Haxor did use it in the quarters. So thank you for that.
Yep.
Little bit of information. TEEX had a little trouble in 7-7, was not able to do the 2-star trick. Had to take a pit stop for a 3rd star. Zikubi using his last P-Wing start of 7-9 to skip over the top here. He's not going to go for any pipe clips here. Which,
he goes for that pipe clip later on. We've seen a lot of guys at least attempt it. And if they can't get it the first try, they just move right along.
So TEEX is going to make a stop here. I think he's going to go for Hammer soon. He's going to at least give it a shot. because all told that does save time because one-hit kills on Boom Boom and that does save time, but it does require a certain level of mastery of Hammer Suit, and that's harder than you'd think.
Well, let's see TEEX here. He's going to go for it. These 7-9 clips. Tries it once. Is going to go for it again. After about 3 or 4 tries, it loses time, unfortunately.
And this is definitely, and this is also a case where once you do this, the first one, you got to commit to this. You cannot, turn around and say, "Oh well, I just having a funny there."
Yeah.
That's 6 tries, and he's still not got it. That's 7. At one point, he's like, "Okay, there it is." Okay, he's past the 2 Paraguma. Okay, that's good. He might go for this. Okay, this I think he might. Yeah. After that second clip, you can go for the third one once, and then like, nope, forget it. Just get on with it.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for TEEX there, having to go after those first 2 pipe clips. Took them 8 tries, but 1 try on the second pipe. That was nice.
Yeah, that doesn't quite offset, but it does kind of validate on some level, his choice. Although I think it probably would have been a little faster overall. But what are you gonna do? So 7F2. This is definitely a major trial for TEEX. How good are his hammer strats?
Well, I mean, this is such a gutsy move.
Yeah.
If you lose the hammer suit, you lose so much time.
Well, if
you took the time to go get it.
If he loses it here, it's not such a big deal because he gets Fire Mario back on the airship, so it's again negligible. But after this, he's got to hold on to it for a long time. He's got to hold on to it for the rest of the game because those collective time saves are what he's banking on at this point. And there it goes.
So that's it. So he'll lose it there. Quite unfortunate.
That's all things considered, that's probably one of the least awful places to lose it because again, if he lost it where Zikubi is at right now, that would be horrible, absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Because then he'd have to go for a backup strat at Navy, and that's a fairly dicey thing. I'm sure he can do it, but that's not something you want to be banking on as a backup, because if you don't have your movement right, you basically lost it altogether.
Yeah, so TEEX at this point, he's back to square one.
Yeah.
He's got to bet on Zikubi making some pretty big mistakes here in World 8, and there's a lot of there's a lot that happens in World 8, so it's very possible. But if Zikubi continues playing the way he's currently playing,
things can happen. But unfortunately, there are only a couple of places where those things can happen. I mean, 8-1 maybe, 8-2. I mean, Air Force, who knows? Can be fairly random. But those are not the kinds of calculations you want to be betting on. He's going to be over a minute behind going into World 8. Zikubi grabbing the wand at 101.29. So he's about on pace for about, I want to say a 112. All told, about a high 111, low 112. If everything breaks way in World 8, that's about where he's sitting right now.
Yeah, that's the kind of pace you want to be on here in these, especially in the semifinals. 114, 115 is pretty good in this tournament, but ultimately you want to be gunning for 112, 111.
Yeah, 114 is not going to do it in most of the races at this stage. I think both runners know that. And Zikubi, I know in his heat, he clocked, I believe, like a 111.45 or something, and beat the rest of the field by a fairly wide margin too. I mean, he really had an outstanding run in his heat race. So, and he's basically demonstrating that he can do this consistently. So 102.47 for TEEX, so he's almost 90 seconds. He's about 80 seconds behind going into World 8. So yeah, he really needs a lot of help here.
Yeah, Zikubi though, you know, not giving him that help, just doing a really nice job maintaining his position.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an auto scroller, but there's just so much flying at you constantly.
Yeah.
These bomb-oms are everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, he's doing this strat that helps with lag, because these bomb-oms blowing up on screen kind of lags a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a couple of frames here and there, but Zikubi, you know, trying to be
Yeah.
as optimal as possible.
Sure. And he's gonna hope for a good pattern here from the boomerang throw. He's gonna want him to move forward so we can snipe him before he can throw the boomerang. And ooh, he's just a little tardy. So that costs like maybe 2 seconds. But again, if this were a warpless race, that's 78 seconds would be interesting because 3 hands versus 0 hands, and that's about 50 seconds right there. So then all of a sudden you have a race. But here, you know, it's really gonna have to come down to, I think, to Air Force 8-2 basically. That's where the time is going to be made up, and on maybe a disastrous mistake at Bowser.
Yeah, Zikubi working through this Navy,
And
you know,
TEEX and there goes Fire Mario for TEEX. So that's an unfortunate setback. That's gonna cost him at least 7 or 8 seconds with the boom booms, because you have to fight them normally. Zikubi's about almost to the Navy end of Navy, is gonna have an easy go of it.
Yeah, just really unfortunate there, you know, and I mean, there's not really any place for you to pick up a Fire Flower.
Yeah. He's got a shot at Navy. He's got a shot at Navy,
Yeah.
so it's not all is lost. But again, this is a very tight bit of platforming here. He is going to go for it. You know, he's gotten. Okay, he got it. Okay,
oh, very nearly lost it right in the same instance.
Yeah, and forced draw by hand number 1. You know, there it is, and
yeah, so Zikubi not getting that no hands. Not really too big of a deal, but you know, just fun to see it here in 100%.
yes, the second hand is under his volition. Second hand is the easiest of the 3. It's very straightforward. I think it only takes about 20 seconds, I think, to go through. And third hand is a forced draw. And this third hand, I can speak from experience. There is this could be really trolly if it wants to be with Chiefs. So having optimal P-speed strats is a real necessity here, because otherwise you can really kind of get into trouble. Again, speaking from experience, I've had a couple of runs derailed by that stage.
Well, here we see Zikubi taking on the Air Force.
Yep.
Here, TEEX will go into these hands here.
Yeah. This stage runs, I believe, at 60 frames per second, so it's double a normal stage, and it's 4 times what the World 4 airship is. So you it kind of feels like whiplash by comparison, especially after the 2 auto scrollers, well, really the 3 auto scrollers they played in the last 10 minutes. The World 7 airship, then Army, then Navy. Now Air Force is running at double time, and it can be a little jarring, but no problem for Zikubi, who a quick kill on Boom Boom, and there it is. So down to the last 5 stages for Zikubi: 8-1, 8-2, 8-4, Super Tanks, and Bowser.
Yeah, and again, Zikubi just on a really nice run here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he didn't actually try for he might have using a starter at the beginning of 8-1 is a nice little safety play. Almost went into the gully there. Mistimed his jump there, but nice recovery gathers himself and finishes off 8-1. So that could have, if he had died there, that wouldn't have been a total disaster, but it wouldn't have been good.
Well, I mean, it would, like you're saying, you know, it wouldn't have been a total disaster, but he would have lost that fire flower.
Yeah.
Kind of crucial through these last couple levels, giving TEEX a minor opportunity, but like you said, just able to save it.
Yeah. Luckily for him, he's got a mushroom, so he could have used that and then just taken the fire flower at the start of 8-4, no problem. So that's pretty standard backup. He's going to use his final star here at the start of 8-4 to avoid having to take a damage boost.
TEEX doing a really nice job with that, with the Air Force.
So
heading on over. Haxer, Raiden.
All right.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing your race against Mitch very soon.
Yeah, so Zikubi, no problem getting the 1 cycle on 8-4. So we welcome the Haxor and all of the people watching him. Welcome. We've had a pretty good race today. Zikubi demonstrating why he was the #1 seed with his heat time. He is putting on quite a show, and TEEX, he's been right there. He had some chances, but just a couple of unfortunate mishaps have kind of put him behind. And ooh, nice damage boost through the final section of 8-2. I gotta say that was nicely done.
Well, that was a really good way of handling it. I mean, he jumped a little late there on that note block, so he got hit by the other note block and got knocked straight into the sun, unfortunately. But he'll have an opportunity to pick up Fireflower right there, just losing a little bit more time though. That's been the story. This whole race, you know, TEEX just not optimal movement. Zikubi able to optimize on several different things that, you know, TEEX just not able to do.
Yeah. I think 70-75% of the time they have been identical, but there have just been those little things, little bits of business here and there, and they do add up. And you know, we gotta basically Zikubi is almost finished with super tanks. TEEX is finishing up 8-4, so that tells you the story of the gap between them. So even if Zikubi lost his Fire Flower, he'd still be safe from losing this race.
Well, if Zikubi can have a good final fortress and get a nice quick kill on Bowser, not able to get that elevator skip.
Yeah, which saves about 1.5 seconds.
It's probably looking at a low 112, maybe a high 111.
Nah, 112 is more realistic, just because it's about a 21-second cutscene after he takes down Bowser, and it's 35 fireballs to drop Bowser. So, here we go. He may have it. He may have... Yeah, it's gonna be
very close. It might be a 112 flat.
Yeah.
But he was able to avoid taking damage from Bowser. We have seen players take damage from Bowser as they were taking those fireball shots, but Zikubi able to avoid it.
There it is. And Haxor was close. It's 111-58. GG to Zikubi, who will be moving on to the finals.
Yeah, he'll take on either Haxor or Mitch Flower Power for the final. And TEEX will go on to take on either Mitch or the Haxor for the bronze medal race. And he will miss that elevator skip as well, but he'll be finishing up. He's looking at a low 113.
Yeah, about 113.30, I'd say. So, nice P speed there to get through the final room.
Now,
all right.
It is to note that it's different. You know, I kind of feel bad for TEEX. You know, you're racing against a guy who just beat your PB by 20 seconds. So
Right.
that's got to be difficult, but TEEX having a good race himself, 113.
Yeah. There we go, and so it's a 113.23. So 1 minute 45-second gap between the runners.
So GG's to both these guys. Big GG's to Zikubi. We'll see if we can get these guys in for interviews. We do have to be short just simply because we have Super Mario Sunshine Grand Finals coming up in 15 minutes. So make sure if you're in Super Mario Sunshine, or if you've been following along the semifinals. If you've been following that, we've got JJ SRL versus SB Electric at 7:30. So we'll see if we can get these guys in chat.
All right.
Welcome, and we'll get Zikubi here in just a second. Now, TEEX, how'd you feel about that run?
Well, I did my best. I mean, relative to the times that I to what my PB is and what my expectations were. I was hoping to get a time that was in the 112 ballpark, but typical of any race, typical of any run, just generally, you're gonna come across a couple mistakes, and it just comes down to how you're able to adapt to situations that you just didn't expect to happen.
Yeah.
So typical of any race.
Do you guys follow each other? Because I don't know if you guys realize this, but through World 4 or World 5 even, you guys weren't more than 30 seconds apart.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah.
It was 16 seconds after the wand grabs in World 5. Zikubi, welcome, by the way, GG.
Yes, GG.
So, but yeah, like, it wasn't really any one thing that decided this race. It was a lot of little things, like the 7-1 clip. Zikubi took you 4 tries, TEEX took you 8 or 9. So, it was a lot of those little drip kind of things, and they did kind of add up a little bit, but it was one of those things where execution-wise, everything was pretty much on point, but it was just Zikubi just a little sharper, a little faster, and a little cleaner.
Yeah, Zikubi's a very solid player in general, so I kind of had that. I had a good feeling that he was going to have the advantage going into this race.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if the gap between us was no more than like 30 seconds, then I'm just content with the fact that I was able to keep up somewhat. So
yeah,
congratulations again, Zikubi.
Now, Zikubi, do
that
you
run out as expected? I mean, everything was decent except for World 5. That should kind of made me upset.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say, do you follow the stream, or do you follow the other racer, Zikubi?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you knew going through to World 5 that you guys were almost neck and neck.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we follow each other generally, but I wasn't focused on any other. I wasn't focused on what Zikubi was doing over the course of my run.
There you go.
I would say that was like the only real blemish. Zikubi was Iggy kind of getting you there at the end of World 4, and that kind of threw off, I think, your intended strats for the first half of World 5. But by 5 or so, I think you finally settled back into your pattern and your rhythms. You were able to get back to what you needed to do.
Yeah, I had used a lot of backup strats, but I completely forgot how to do half of them.
Yeah, 5-3 I noticed was giving you some fits because you couldn't do a lot of the things you wanted to do. It's like I could tell, I want to jump and do the fire kill on the piranha. Like, oh wait, no, I can't. It was kind of like you're fighting your muscle memory there.
I encountered a little bit of trouble with the 5-3 as well. I had the Fire Flower going into the level, and I was able to keep it for about 3/4. But then I undershot one of the fireballs, missed the prawn, hit a pipe instead, and then I had to go backtrack to pick it up again.
Yeah.
Now, Teeks, it's got to be hard, you know, racing up against a guy who just beat your PB by 20 seconds. What was like your mentality going into this race?
I mean, like I said before, I had a good feeling that Zikubi had an advantage going into this race, but I wanted to at least be in my ballpark of my PB by within a 20-second window.
Mm.
I mean, you just can't really plan for these things. You have the knowledge of the strats, and then if you're able to pull it off on the moment, then you just don't get any resets. So the best you can really hope for is that you can make best of the time that you have left.
Yeah. What really hurt you, I know, probably down the stretch was losing Hammer Mario in the second Piranha stage.
Oh, so, dude, that broke my heart.
Yeah, like that was like that. I mean, it probably still would have taken a lot, but like that was like, oh, that's it. That pretty much just killed it.
Yeah, I mean, you're investing 6 seconds anyway just by grabbing the hammer suit in 7-8, but you're able to make a return on that investment by just carrying through World 8 and then just getting a clean 8-2 as well, and being able to get the quick kill on Bowser. So unfortunately, that was time that I was never going to get back. And another thing that really hurt me in World 7 was I activated my last start too early. So I was meaning to use it for 7-8 after using my extra P-Wing for 7-9, but
right.
I kind of got mixed up with my order.
Mm-hmm.
I decided just to go for the yellow strats and see if the wall clips would work, but I had some bad subpixel luck with that as well.
Yeah,
and it also
it took you 8 tries to get the first one, and then of course, just to spite you, it was first try on the second one.
Yeah.
Well, GG's to both of you guys. Zikubi, we'll see you in the finals. And Teeks, you still have an opportunity with the bronze medal race. Either one of you guys will be taking on the Haxer, and then another one of you will be taking on Mitch Flower Power. We'll still that race has yet to be scheduled, unfortunately, but we'll look forward to seeing that. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time, so we'll finish up here. We've got Super Mario Sunshine, like I said, at 7:30, semifinal race between SB Electric and JJ SRL. Big race, best 2 out of 3. So if you're interested in that, please make sure to stick around. But gentlemen, GG's to Teeks and big GG's to Zikubi on the win. Thank you so much to both you guys for showing off.
And give these guys a follow if you haven't already. Really good race.
GG to Zikubi, and big thanks again to GSA for putting on this tournament, for providing the restream, and to you guys for providing the commentary. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so signing out here for Super Mario Bros. 3. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with Super Mario Sunshine. Pro, it was good commentating with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, and thanks to GSA and GG's once again to Gooby and Teeks.
All right, later.